Hello and thanks for joining us on nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Najat Atutijani, and this broadcast is being streamed live on our website nta.ng/live and other social media platforms displayed on the screen. We begin with economic matters, and since the liberalization of the mining sector under the current administration, revenue accruing to the three tiers of government has been on the increase. The Director General of the Nigeria Mining Cadastre Office, Obadiah Simon Nkom, says the sector has yielded more than 14.5 billion naira in the last 5 years through the promotion of private sector investment in solid minerals.
Is to ensure that mineral titles are administered and managed in the most transparent manner and most importantly in line with the provisions of the Act.
Meanwhile, Nasarawa State Government has embarked on enforcement of Executive Order No. 2, 2022, recently signed by Governor Abdullahi Sule for the protection of mining exploration in the state. The Commissioner for Environment and Natural Resources, Kwanta Yakubu, who recently visited some sites in driving the enforcement, said that some of the erring sites have been subsequently closed down. Charity Ashiki reports.
The exercise, which was fully backed by enforcement officers and security agencies, covered mining sites in Akwanga, Kefi, and Nasarawa local government areas. The Commissioner for Environment and Natural Resources, while expressing worry over the increasing numbers of unregistered mining companies, exploration of mineral products without remitting benefits to the state, says henceforth the enforcement will continue until there is sanity in the state.
The illegal activities going on in Nasarawa local government is worrisome. We have closed more than 3 sites today, and we have directed that all of them report to the ministry for further engagement.
The commissioner decried the huge exploration taking place in the state without records of its operations. Some defaulters were arrested and handed over to the security agencies for proper prosecution. Charity Ashki, NTA News.
The House of Representatives is pushing for increased export of gum arabic by the establishment of a research institute for gum arabic to source revenue. A bill to that effect, sponsored by Chief Whip of the House, Mohammed Tahir Monguno, passed second reading during plenary on Thursday. When established, the Gum Arabic Research Institute will enhance cultivation of the acacia tree, which produces gum arabic used in the pharmaceutical, food, beverage, print and textile industry. House members note that the produce tapped in commercial quantity when harnessed properly will improve its export and source foreign exchange for Nigeria. Gum arabic is found in West and East Africa, with Sudan, Chad and Nigeria leading in global export to Europe, North America and Asia. Nigeria has shipped 20 containers of ginger and sesame seed valued at $1.3 million to the Nigerian Export Trade House, Hunan Province, China. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, made the tonnage known during the takeoff of the products to China through Onne Port in Rivers State. The shipment, carried out through a public-private partnership, is part of government's effort at increasing visibility of Nigerian products in the People's Republic of China, considering its prominence in the Asian continent.
Opening of the China economy now, we see this as an opportunity to quickly launch, and the multiplier effect is great. We have more money to the farmers, more money to the country, addressing forest challenges, and again using on a port, it means that there is now a side of order to Apapa, so meaning that it's going through on a let there be so many exit points. For us is good. That means decongesting the Apapa port.
We are going to move average of 300 containers within the next at least 45 days. All the containers you are seeing here today, 20, we have 17 ginger and we have 3 sesame seed containers living here. And trade deficit between China and Nigeria, we will be able to close it. If not totally close it, at least bring it closer than what it is today.
Comfort Amadou reports that the 20 containers of ginger and sesame seed are expected to arrive China within 45 days ahead of the official launch of the Nigerian Export Trade House in Hunan, China. And now for more on this, straight from On Airport to our studios, I'm being joined by Victor Ayemere, the operator, Nigerian Export Trade House, that is of China and Far East region. Welcome to Nationwide.
Thank you.
Now, what does this shipment mean for Nigeria?
It's a beautiful thing that has just happened. Because what you get before now, maybe individuals just come together, they start shipping within their own capacity. But what has happened now is the Nigerian Export Promotion Council last year appointed us to set up and operate the Nigerian Export Trade House in China and other Far East countries. So what is leaving the country today, what we have just done today, is that we are moving goods from the shores of Nigeria down to the Nigerian Export Trade House in China. Meaning, we are buyers in China and we are sellers in Nigeria. That is, if you are the one selling and you are the one buying to sell, there is no limit. It simply means if we have 10,000 containers today, we move it to China today. We have buyers in China today. So it is a beautiful thing that has just happened, and we believe as we continue in this trajectory, we will have a situation where the trade deficit that we are talking about between China and Nigeria today will be able to close it to the barest minimum.
But what does this mean, though, for the Nigerian farmer and the exporter?
Oh, when you plant, you harvest. The next thing is you need to sell it. So if you planted harvested 10 tons today and you get a buyer, they bought the entire 10 tons, you will increase it to 20 tomorrow. If they buy the entire 20, you will increase it to 30, because the more you harvest, the more money you make. So to the Nigerian farmers, the more we take these commodities outside the shores of Nigeria, you will see them going to the farm the more, and that will increase more money in their pocket. They'll be able to take care of their needs, and that is wealth creation that we are just doing. So that's what it means to the farmers.
And closely related to the point you've just raised, China is known to have conquered so many markets. Now, let's turn the table on Nigeria, which is the largest economy in Africa. What will the country and indeed the continent gain if we break into the Chinese market?
Very beautiful one. We have a lot to gain. Yeah, as you rightly said, China has dominated so many countries. What we are saying, we've been having from China. China is bringing. We're saying it's time for us to be sending. We don't need to be moving to China. So as much as possible, we just want to take so much so that we can close that gap. It's like them giving us 100, then we give them 1. It shouldn't be so. As they give us 100, we want to push 50, make it 80, then eventually we should be able to do, you give us 100, we are giving you 100. That is the balance that we are talking about. So it's a beautiful one for the country.
So we've also had in the past complaints concerning the quality of our produce. Now, has that been overcome with this shipment?
Yeah, with this shipment, before even the shipment, we have carried out a lot of checks. It is not our first, it's just that this is the first that we are moving to the trade house that is in China. So we try to do everything possible to ensure that the quality standard is maintained. Before a customer tells you, I want commodity A, they give you specifications. This is how it must be. Don't let the moisture content to be too high. We don't want aflatoxin. We don't want this. So all we need to do, stick on that specification that they have given. Once that's done, you sincerely do not have any issue regarding rejection. So we try to practice as much as possible, doing exactly what they have said we should do, so that there will be no rejection. There is no customer that will say, bring this commodity to me, and it meets the need, and eventually say, I don't need it again. We are the one at fault. If we breach the agreement, certainly it will be rejected. But this, we certainly cover that, because most of our partners that we are saying, come with us, let's work together. We are not just shipping. We also guide to ensure that what you are shipping meets the specified limit, the specification that has been given by the client that needs the product.
So it's safe to say that Nigeria is getting it right in this regard?
Certainly, certainly.
So, and finally, what currency will this payment be made in? I'm sure Nigerians are waiting to hear what will be injected into the Nigerian economy.
For now, what we sent out today is in the neighborhood of 1.3 to $1.5 million. What's going out today? But within the next 45 days to say 90 days, we intend to increase it to about 300 containers. And for today, the one that is out is about $1.3, $1.5 million. And we want to see how we can push it to $30 million. The more we have, the better for the country. So that's the way it is. Thank you.
And that's good news for Nigerians. I've been speaking with the operator Nigerian Export Trade House, China and Far East region, Mr. Victor Ayemere. As they say in Chinese, Xixinyi.
Xixiao. Thank you. Thank you.
And now Nigerians are expected to turn in the old Naira note on or before 31st January, when the old currency notes will no longer be legal tender. The Central Bank of Nigeria took sensitization on the redesigned Naira notes to Oba Market in Akure, urging traders and the public to embrace the redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira denominations for optimum transactions. Toyin Batire reports.
The Central Bank of Nigeria chose Oba Market, Akure, for the sensitization because of the large population. Rolling out the benefits of the redesigned Naira note, Assistant Branch Manager of the Central Bank of Nigeria in Ondo State, Samuel Ademola, explained that it will help, among others, in controlling inflation, fight corruption, minimize hoarding, and help in implementation of the monetary policy. He also explained the enhanced features of the new notes, urging them to deposit the old notes as soon as possible in commercial banks, as there is no limit to the amount to be deposited on or before January 31st, 2023.
We noticed that there are a lot of counterfeits, even in the system already. But that is why we are doing these sensitizations, so that we can show you the original notes and the one that is not original.
It's okay, but they should help us to do everything. It should be okay for us to be seeing the money. If we go to bank, let us see the money safely.
The traders were urged to explore other payment channels in addition to deposit in commercial banks. In Akure, Toyin Batire, NTA News.
And from economic matters to legal ones, a federal high court sitting in Abuja has struck out a suit instituted against President Muhammadu Buhari to challenge an alleged lopsidedness in the appointments into the board of the Niger Delta Development Commission. The suit, instituted by an NDDC stakeholder chief, Mrs. Rita Lori Ogbebo, was struck out by the court on the grounds that the plaintiff has no legal rights to have instituted the case. Justice Ian Eko, in his judgment, held that Section 2 of the NDDC Act 2000 was so specific that any legal action on any infraction in matters relating to NDDC can only be instituted by corporate persons, not individuals like the plaintiff, saying the law is clear that the power to file any case to challenge infractions in the NDDC cannot be delegated by proxy to anybody. Mrs. Ogbebo, who claims to be a stakeholder from Shekiri extraction, had dragged President Buhari, NDDC, the Senate, Dr. Pius Odubo, Olurugun Bernard Opumagba, and the Attorney General of the Federation before the court in the suit, praying the court to invoke Sections 4 and 12 of the NDDC Act to order President Buhari to appoint indigenes of oil-producing areas of Delta State as chairman in specific compliance with Section 4. However, the defense defendants averred that Section 2 of the NDDC Act is specific that only corporate persons can institute action where infractions occur. In his judgment, Justice Ekwo upheld the objections of the defendants and held that the plaintiff lacked legal right to have brought the case before the court. It's time now to join our Lagos Network Center, where Hingino is standing by with more stories.
Thank you, Naja'atu. We begin here with the redesigned Naira notes. The Central Bank of Nigeria says it will take all necessary measures to ensure that Nigerians are not deprived access to the redesigned Naira notes by deposit money banks. Director Legal Services Department of the Apex Bank stated this while interacting with stakeholders in Lagos. Abolade Salami reports.
The decision of the Apex Bank to continuously educate Nigerians on the need to embrace the redesigned Naira notes as means of exchange before phasing out the 1,000, 500 and 200 Naira notes on 31st of January 2023 has to a large extent restored the confidence of many on the authenticity of the legal tender. This was evident at a session the bank officials held with business operators at the popular computer village in Ikeja, Lagos. There, the bank re-echoed that it has embedded in the redesigned notes security features that are unique. On the basis of this, stakeholders were implored not to reject the notes as adequate supply has been made available to deposit money banks.
Central Bank of Nigeria is bending over backwards to accommodate the demands of banks in order to service them so that they can service you out there, their customers, so that everybody will have access to the new Naira notes. What we want to have happen in Nigeria in terms of this Naira note will happen. And what do we want? Accessibility.
While applauding the initiative of the Apex Bank, business operators called for more compliance on the part of deposit money banks.
So we want to encourage the TBN to enforce their mandates, or their deadline on the banks. There should be no banks that should not be given the new Naira note from their ATM machine.
A passionate appeal was extended to CBN to monitor and ensure proper circulation of the redesigned Naira note before the deadline. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Worried by the prevalence of drug importation, which more than 162 cartons of tramadol with duty-paid value of 13.8 billion naira were intercepted within 2 weeks, the Murtala Mohammed Airport Command of the Customs Service has threatened to start sanctioning both airline carriers and aviation handling companies found culpable in the course of illicit goods finding their way into the country. Michael Olale reports that apart from this, close to 1,000 pieces of different military hardware were also seized.
The cargo wing of any airport is always a point of scrutiny, especially for consignments which had invaded every other checks. This tends to pay off for the Murtala Mohammed Airport Command of the Nigeria Customs Service, as tramadol found in 13 different airway bill number were intercepted between 23rd December 2022 to the second week of January 2023. The concern for the customs is not basically about the milligrams of the drug which are above the threshold, but rather how they were airlifted from India and Pakistan through Addis Ababa to Lagos, where 34-year-old Samson Tantolong of number 29 Okejide Street, Ejigbo, Lagos, was arrested along with the drugs.
We will start sanctioning the airline because we have done the first meeting with them, and I told them if they cannot know their customer, that's KYC, then we are going to block them from bringing in it. If they come here and find any trouble, we'll detain them.
Another major recovery by the Customs Service was the interception of different military hardwares like helmets, armless jackets, chest plates, and others imported from South Africa. A suspect was equally arrested and undergoing investigation, but the lack of end-user certificates to back up the importation is forcing the Murtala Mohammed Airport Command to draw up its conclusion.
Anybody can wear them and come out and pretend, and that's why we are on alert.
In the year 2022, the Murtala Mohammed Airport Command generated a sum of 69.7 billion naira to surpass not only its 55.6 billion naira generated for 2021, but above the 66 billion naira target given at the start of 2022. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time now for some messages. Nationwide will be back with Amina in Kaduna shortly.
The year 2023 will signify a new beginning for Nigeria with new approach to governance, steady and accelerated national development if the All Progressive Congress APC wins the forthcoming elections. Governor Muhammad Badru Abubakar stated this in Taura local government when he led governorship campaign rally to the area. Muhammad Musa Askira has more.
Abubakar, who recounts achievements of President Muhammadu Buhari administration across socio-economic sectors of the nation, says which awaits Nigerians retains power, which he describes as crystal clear. Party stalwarts maintain that APC has been enjoying steady and progressive support ahead of other political parties triggered by the issue-based campaign strategies employed by the party in the state. This, they say, is yielding positive outcome for the party as many people continue to realign their party affiliation to the APC.
APC is really gathering more momentum by the day, and the support is becoming more massive by the day, and we thank God for that.
We are 100% sure that the women will come out to vote en masse for Umar Namadi Damodi and all the other APC candidates.
The candidature of Umar Namadi Damodi is also a step forward in unifying the Jigawa State, bringing stability and justice in the Jigawa State.
The state APC governorship candidate Umar Namadi reiterates his commitments in fulfilling promises being made to the people at the campaign rallies, assuring them of responsive and accountable government under his watch. The statewide campaign rallies continue in the state seamlessly. From Duty, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
The Nigeria Police Force will continue to strengthen its tentacles and remain neutral in carrying out its constitutional responsibilities. Harun Mohammed reports that the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 14, Edward Ebuka, stated this while on operational visit to Kaduna State ahead of the 2023 general elections.
Few weeks to the 2023 general elections, the Nigerian Police Force is not allowing any gap for miscreants. The Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 14, who is on a strategic and planning visit to Kaduna Command prior to the general election, says it is an avenue for stock taking. Commissioner of Police Kaduna State Command CP Ekini Ayoku says the command comprises 7 area commands, 61 divisions and 3 mobile police squadron and has a manpower of 10,577 officers, inspectorates and the rank and file cadre.
The command has been able to stand up to the challenge with the effective deployment of operational, tactical and intelligence assets on charge to fight the menace and bring stability to the security environment.
AIG Edward, while addressing the personnel, admonished review for operations at various levels ahead of the forthcoming elections. He warned personnel under his zone against indulging into politics while calling on them to be patriotic and fair in discharging their constitutional responsibilities.
All efforts must be made to ensure that the integrity of this forthcoming election is not compromised in any way.
He urged members of the public to be security conscious and report any suspicious movement to security operatives for quick response. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Naja'atu in Abuja. Naja.
Thank you, Amina. Prospective voters yet to collect their permanent voter cards in Kwara State can now obtain their voter cards as the state INEC has received the last batch of PVCs and distributed them to collection centers across the state. Raliat Ibrahim has an update on PVC collection in the state.
Than 2 weeks to the deadline for the collection of permanent voter cards. Turnout at collection points is becoming lean, but the process is seamless as attested to by these prospective voters.
I just came not quite long and I've collected my PVC. Less than 5 minutes.
Other than the fact that I had to go to where I registered and then being directed back here, there's really no stress. I just came here, lined up, and I got my card.
As at January 15, over 280,000 permanent voter cards are said to have been collected by both the old and new registrants, with Ilorin West recording the highest number of collection. While all PVCs are ready for collection, INEC wants eligible voters to obtain their cards within the remaining days to enable them exercise their franchise.
Everybody that have registered will get his PVC, except if you have done double registration, you will never get it. What it just means is that the first card PVC you have is still valid. The only problem is that instead of you to have transfer to your new station, you will go back to that old place you registered, either in 2010 or 2011 or 2015, and go and vote.
At the expiration of the deadline, all uncollected voter cards, according to the INEC rec, will be taken to the Central Bank of Nigeria for safekeep in the presence of political parties and the media. Raliat Ibrahim, NTA News.
Thank you, Raliat. With less than 14 days to end the collection of permanent voter cards, the Independent National Electoral Commission in Cross River State says only about 8,045 have been collected so far, out of about 98,000 PVCs available for collection. Against this background, Archibald Bassi takes a look at the level of sensitization and awareness in communities on PVC collection.
As at the last count, the Cross River State Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says it recorded low turnout for the collection of PVC. Worried by this development and to facilitate participation of a greater number of Nigerians in the electoral process, some leaders of thought and community leaders have decided to take the campaign on PVC collection to their domain.
It's inappropriate for us to pray to God for right leaders, to pray to God for a better life in terms of our good health, our happiness, our well-being, our peace within and around us and in our communities and in our nation, when we do not fulfill our obligations.
We are still putting our effort to make sure that the time we are being better, that everybody should get their PVC.
My people are aware, because of the severe sensitization we have been embarking in the clan council.
The state government says it will leave no stone unturned in its sensitization drive for the collection of voter cards.
The government wants to round up to put in another government. And you cannot round up and put in another government if people don't get to vote. People don't get to vote if they don't get their PVCs.
And so, as the 2023 general elections approach, the campaign for the collection of PVC has taken center stage, as no voter will be able to vote without holding a PVC. In Calabar, Achibombasi, NTA News.
Kogi State Governor Yahya Bello says his administration will not compromise the security of lives of Nigerians resident in the state before, during and after elections. The governor was speaking at a forum in Lokoja and asked politicians to focus on issue-based campaigns. Correspondent Solomon Aide reports.
Against the backdrop of the forthcoming general elections and the quest for adequate security of life and property in Kogi State, before, during and after the exercise, Governor Yahya Bello advised politicians to play the game of politics according to its rules. He warned them not to hide behind politics and bring in criminals and terrorists to the state, assuring that anyone caught will be dealt with according to the law of the land.
Continue to go about your lawful and normal businesses. Campaign with issues. Don't bring crimes and criminality to our society, because under GYB we will not tolerate it. We will deal with you irrespective of your position and political affiliation.
We will not blink in any way to ensure that this state remains very safe, particularly at this critical time when we are going into election. we are reviewing our strategy every day. You will recall that His Excellency, when Mr. President visited, commissioned some very special security equipment, which we are deploying already. We will acquire more. We will make sure that the state remain on top as far as security is concerned in Nigeria.
In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
From Kogi, we head to Imo State, where Governor Hope Uzodinma has donated 27 hillocks to the Joint Security Network in the state. Beatrice Anyam reports that the Commissioner of Police, Imo State, received the vehicles on behalf of the security agencies.
The donation of additional 27 Hilux vans to the Operation Search and Flush Joint Security Network by the Imo State government is to further strengthen the security architecture in protecting lives and property in the state. Governor Hope Uzodinma says he made the donation to support the Joint Task Force to further enhance security surveillance in the state.
You must have heard how INEC has been under attack of late, disturbing and disrupting people from collecting their PVCs. Government decided to do this to support the existing security program in the state for the monitoring and security support services to the electoral process.
We are so much grateful that you have provided us with working materials, and by God's grace, we are going to do more than what we have been doing. And by God's grace, Imo will be very peaceful to even conduct the forthcoming election.
The Operation Search and Flush Joint Security Network is made up of all security agencies in the state. In Owerri, Beatrice Anyam, NTA News.
Now Felicia is standing by in our Jos Network Center for more reports. Hello, Felicia.
Thank you, Najatu. Welcome to Jos. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya has reiterated his commitment to improving troops' welfare and infrastructure across the Nigerian Army barracks. He was speaking at the inauguration of gymnasium and swimming pool complex executed by the former General Officer Commanding 3 Division, Nigerian Army and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Ibrahim Ali. Saadatu Mohammed Kafa reports that the event held at the headquarters of the 3 Division, Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, Rukuba.
That was the official inauguration of the Rhino Gymnasium and Swimming Pool Complex, equipped with the state-of-art facilities to promote healthy lifestyle among troops and their families in the cantonment. Speaking on the significance of the exercise among military personnel, the Chief of Army Staff represented says it is worthy of commendation, adding that it will complement government's efforts towards providing welfare services for the Nigerian Army personnel.
This facility will further afford troops preparing for combat competitions to train for a successful outing. I am therefore happy that we are making giant strides towards ensuring that our troops keep fit.
The idea to construct the edifice, the General Officer Commanding says, is to enhance competition among the soldiers.
To the military, the importance of physical fitness cannot be overemphasized.
The massive infrastructural development, especially in Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, and the robust welfare program provided for 3D personnel by the General Officer Commanding and Commander Operation Safe Haven, which our support is highly appreciated.
High point of the event was inspection of the facilities, as well as award presentation to the representative of the Chief of Army Staff and the former GOC 3 Division. From Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, Saadatu Mohammed Kafa, NTA News.
As the 2023 general elections draw near, the National Orientation Agency, Plateau State, has been carrying out its statutory functions of sensitizing and mobilizing Nigerians on the importance of permanent voters' card. State Director NOA Kaneng Tabita Pamworo said this in Jos while speaking on some issues of national development. Ijoma Ozemena has more.
A state director of the National Orientation Agency, who stresses the need for Nigerians to perform their civic responsibilities, describes the permanent voter card as a weapon that will enable them elect candidates of their choice in the forthcoming general polls.
I need us to know that collection of PVC does not just begin and end with the elections alone. You see, your PVC can be used for many other functions. There are other functions that you do that you use the PVC for, and that will be very important for us as citizens of Nigeria to know and to also uphold.
The agency has been sensitizing Nigerians on the importance of the voter card and expressed satisfaction with the response of the people in this regard.
Our call to the general public is for them to come out and collect their voters card. We have been up and doing, talking to the general public concerning the collection of PVCs, and we've done our best. It behoves on the general public to know their rights and to equally execute it.
The director also urged community and religious leaders to ensure that their subjects participate fully in the exercise. She also advised Nigerians to respect constituted authority and work towards the success of the general elections scheduled for February 2023. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Jos. Najatu is back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thanks for staying tuned. Nigerians need to start seeing census data not only as a tool for seeking economic and political gains, but as a treasure of information meant for building and planning for a prosperous nation. The chairman, National Population Commission, Nasir Isa Kwara, disclosed this at an orientation program for census training and field coordinators in Abuja. Olusheye Adiagbo was there for NTA.
In its engagements preparatory to the conduct of the General Census, the National Population Commission (NPC) has been unequivocal in conducting a credible head count that will produce an inclusive and user-friendly data.
Looking at census as a process of providing the data that we need for planning purpose. If we are able to invest in our people based on data that's been generated, then this country will move forward.
Few months to the exercise, the NPC is unrelenting to make it a fully digitized one and transparent.
All preparations are still going as planned, and we hope by February we'll be able to commence the first leg of the field work, which is building numbering and household listing.
The latest of the Commission's preparation is this orientation program for states and field coordinators.
This one has given us a very powerful knowledge and exposed us to a lot of digital concepts.
This is the third census we are witnessing. We have never seen this kind of arrangement being put in place to ensure a successful census.
These are the men who will handle affairs on the ground, who will be able to receive enumerators, supervisors, field coordinators, DQM, and the rest of them. So it's only proper that they know the entire gamut of the process.
Participants who will be coordinating the census affairs at the various sub-national levels will, during the training, be familiarized with channels of communication and feedback mechanism, including methodology that the 2023 population and housing census entails. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government will continue to partner health institutions in the country to deliver quality medical care for citizens. The Minister of State for Health, Dr. Joseph Ekuman Kama, stated this during the inauguration of projects at the National Obstetrics Fistula Center, Abakaliki. Caleb Ogbonna reports.
17 projects inaugurated included the maternity complex, dialysis unit, oxygen production plant, Norfolk guest house, among others. These projects, according to the minister, are in line with the federal government's vision of delivering excellent health services for the people.
I will do everything possible to access to affordable and quality healthcare services delivery in the state through monitoring provision, federal government interventions, and support for international and developmental partners.
For Governor David Umahi and other stakeholders, the achievements recorded by President Muhammadu Buhari in different sectors, health inclusive, will ever remain green in the annals of history.
So I thank you for what you do in assisting Mr. President on the health sector. Indeed, this Buhari has done a lot for this country. Yes, I'm developing my own teaching hospital, and I will lay the foundations to by next month.
Our maternity services are free for all women who have had fistula. We didn't have building to do that. We decided to embark on the building. That's what I describe as maternity complex.
The National Obstetric Fistula Center Abakaliki, which majorly deals on reproductive issues, is among 3 of such centers that presently exist in the country. In Abakaliki, Kelebubuna, NTA.
Children are gifts from God and form significant percentage of human resources of every nation, but sometimes their fundamental rights are abused or neglected. Against this backdrop, the National Orientation Agency, partnering with the Ministry of Labour and Employment and the International Labour Organization, has put up a 2-day workshop to raise concerns on the increasing rate of child labour in the society. Kenneth Nanim reports.
The number of children in child labor has risen to 160 million worldwide, an increase of 8.4 million children compared with the last report, with millions more at risk due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic.
These statistics by UNICEF sets agenda for the workshop. It is a general belief that children between the age of 5 and 17 are supposed to be in school at different levels. Unfortunately, so many of them are trapped in slavery, forced labor, and trafficking. Some are forced to participate in armed conflicts, sex work, and other illicit activities or hazardous jobs. The workshop is creating more awareness on the increasing rates of child abuse and the need for stakeholders to urgently nip the situation in the bud by restoring their dignity.
The agricultural sector accounts for 70% of children in child labor, that's about 112 million children globally, followed by 20% in services and 10% in industry. Nearly 28% of children aged 5 to 11 and 35% of children aged 12 to 14 years in child labor are out of school.
Child labor is about the denial of right to education, to dignity of the child, and it is about the exploitation of the most vulnerable, the most disadvantaged, and the most marginalized in the society.
Having developed a legal framework and action plan towards eradication of child labor, the workshop is emphasizing also on the need for Nigeria to enforce and monitor implementation to achieve results.
This workshop is expected to come up with broader perspective for the National Orientation Agency towards the implementation of its action plan on campaign against child labor in Nigeria. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And still on human rights, the State of Israel says it is poised to continue providing adequate security and protection of the rights of Nigerians and other Africans living in the country, following the country's pledge to support a successful election in Nigeria come February 2023. And this came to the fore during a discussion between correspondent Musa Baba Aliu and diplomats in the Israeli Foreign Affairs Ministry in Jerusalem.
Israel and Nigeria have a long-term diplomatic ties that started in 1960. Though the tie was suspended when Nigeria and other African countries reacted to the Yom Kippur War in 1973. The diplomatic relations was however restored with Nigeria in 1992, and since then the two nations have established both diplomatic and economic ties. Israel conducts its general elections late last year, just as Nigeria is getting ready to conduct hers in February this year. President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier warned foreign nationals to stay off the election, as the State of Israel the state support for successful process in the country.
Nigerian elections are Nigerian business. They're not an Israeli business. This is up to the Nigerian citizen, up to the Nigerian electorate to choose and to elect whoever leader he deems is good for him, good for Nigeria's interest. And Israel will gladly work with whoever will be elected.
What we are trying to build is something solid between two countries and two nations, and it's not only related to the person who is at that particular moment in charge. It's something which is long-term. We view it as a long-term relationship.
In the meantime, the Israeli government says Nigerians and other nationals will enjoy adequate protection just like the citizens of the country. In Tel Aviv, Israel, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
So Musa was reporting from Tel Aviv. Now, the Etubom Council of the Obong of Calabar Palace has concluded the traditional process and proclaimed Etubom Epo Okonabasi Otu as the new Obong of Calabar. A statement signed by the chairman and secretary of the Conclave Kingmakers says the development is in line with the constitution of the Etubom Council 2002, demanded by the 13th January 2023 judgment of the Supreme Court for a fresh selection process to be undertaken. The statement notes that the process had the approval of the Western Calabar Ataiboko group of houses. Now, a test of competence took center stage when states Team Bauchi and Ogun battled for first position at the 62nd President's Inter-Basic School debate held in Abuja. Abdul Malik Hassan has all the action details.
Unionization of manpower is a bad idea because it cannot lead the national security policy. My respected about that must be realistic. When it is not the law that says that whoever demands for ransom should be arrested, then it will strengthen the security system.
Certainly, a fierce academic battle. A debate on whether to criminalize ransom for payment or not. These pupils make their points much convincing. A tough decision to make here for the panel of judges. But there is always an outcome to every battle.
And the first position, Ogun State.
Because of their age group, they really impressed me. They perform excellently well. The purpose of the debate is to settle the issue dialogue, not by fighting.
Oshikan Temitope is the team leader of the victors. Team Ogun expresses joy on the journey so far.
I've trained harder and we trained that our teacher trained us in all means, but I thank them because they make me to get this stage.
9 states participated in the competition, with Team Bauchi and Katsina coming second and third position respectively. Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
And up next